Hello and assalamu alaikum. In this video today, I'll be giving you a quick tutorial on what supplies are needed to write Arabic calligraphy, where you can purchase them locally, and ultimately how to prepare them so that they are ready for the scripting of Arabic calligraphy. So essentially, I'll be taking you shopping with me. And without further ado, let's get going. Alright, so the first place we're going to stop by is an art store, and I typically go to Curry's here in Mississauga, Ontario. Now, if we go down the ink aisle, you will find the Royal India ink in one of these big bottles, and believe me when I say this, if you buy one of these, they cost about $15, they will last you at least a couple of years. Now, I have in the past also tried the Speedball calligraphy ink, and that also works really well. So I see that they have a new brand of India ink here by the name of Demco. I've never tried this, but I love trying new things. So let's take this home and see how it goes. Okay, so our next pit stop is at Michael's, and that is to buy Lika. We're gonna go down one of these fabric aisles. Now, the brand that I typically buy here is the Bernard Pipsqueak yarn, and it seems to work perfectly for me. This is 100% polyester, and what a cute baby. Alright, so now we're going to head over to the Home Depot to purchase bamboo stems. Now, one thing you should be aware of is the fact that the garden center is locked during the winter months. However, if you tell one of these representatives that you know exactly what you're looking for, which is bamboo stems, they'll unlock the door for you and let you go and grab it. This is what the section looks like, and essentially this is what I ended up purchasing, which is a pack of 48 bamboo stakes. Now, to be quite honest, you can purchase pre-made bamboo pens online. However, they cost you anywhere from $6 to $7 plus shipping per pen. And over here, I bought 48 stakes, with each stake giving me at least 6 pens, and the grand total here is a whopping $3.98. Alright, now we're going to stop by at Staples to grab our glossy paper. The brand that I like to purchase is HP's Premium Presentation Paper, which weighs at 120 grams. And this is what it looks like. Okay, our last stop is going to be at a dollar store. I go to Absolute Dollar because it is right beside the Staples I go to. In the dollar store, we are going to go in the arts and crafts aisle, and we're going to be looking for these squeeze bottles. We need 2 of them, one for ink and the other for water. Since we are already at the dollar store, we are going to go in the party aisle and grab ourselves a tablecloth. I prefer black because ink spills are not very visible on it. Also, if you buy any other color, it looks like you're having a birthday party. And the last thing we need to purchase from the dollar store is a glass jar with an airtight lid, and this is so we have something to prepare ink in. Alright, so now that we're back, let me take a moment and walk you through how to prepare the ink and the bamboo pen for Arabic calligraphy scripting. Okay, so the first demonstration here is going to be on how to create a bamboo qalam from absolute scratch. So what I have here is a utility knife, a bamboo stem which I cut off from the larger bamboo stake that I purchased from Home Depot, and over here I have a horn mekta. Now this really is a fancy term for a block of wood, and you don't even need this. This is completely optional. You can use the edge of a rough table instead, and it would work just fine. So now we're going to take the bamboo and we're going to have a look at it and see if there are any knots in the bamboo. And I can see that I have a knot right here. So that means that I cannot have the tip of the qalam on this side of the bamboo. So the tip would have to be on this side over here. Now I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm going to start off about 1 inch about 1.5 inches from the top of the pen here. And I'm going to start taking off one sliver at a time. Now notice that I'm not digging in deep. This is a sliver motion where I go down and then I straighten out. So it's a curved motion rather than a digging down action. Now as you can see, I have reached the hollow part of the bamboo here, and at this point in time I'm going to keep on slivering down. And I'm going to do this until I reach the end of the hollow part, and it looks like we did right here. So as soon as we reach the plain edge of the bamboo pen here, when there is no more hollow spacing left, that's when we stop chiseling downwards. Now the next step essentially is to chisel the sides of the bamboo, and the reason we do this is twofold. First, we're trying to narrow down the width of the qalam so it fits our personal preference, and secondly, rounding down the tip actually makes the whole pen a little bit stronger and more sturdy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off right at the edge over here, and we're going to work our way up and trying to round this off. I'm going to move over to the other end, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side here. And if we have a look at this bamboo here, you can see that the tip is now a little bit rounded, and that's how we would like it at this point in time. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the edge of the bamboo and we're going to take off a small sliver to make it absolutely flat here. Now, when this side is completely flat, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the qalam over and we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, because remember, the pen flows in both directions. Now, one thing we should be careful about is making sure that both edges of the pen here should be absolutely parallel. Okay, so right now it's not quite where I would like it to be, so I'm going to adjust likewise. Also, the thickness we're aiming for is about 1 millimeter. We don't want it so thick that it doesn't absorb enough ink, and we also don't want it so thin that it snaps off when we start writing with it. So this is how thick it is at this point in time. And this is close to where we would like it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and just work on it a little bit more. And I think this here is now good to go. Now at this point, if you feel that the pen is still too thick for your liking, if you would like it to be a little bit narrower, you can just go ahead and sliver down the sides a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to sliver down the sides just to make the pen a little bit more narrow. And this here I think is absolutely perfect for our next step. Now we're going to take the horn mekta, or the edge of a table. We're going to take the qalam, turn it face down, and this is if you're left-handed. If you are right-handed, you're going to turn it face up and hold it with your left hand. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the utility knife and at a 30-degree angle, okay, we're not looking at a 45-degree angle, we're looking at a much shallower 30-degree angle, and we're going to snap off the top of the qalam here. Now because I'm left-handed, I'm going to do it the exact opposite way. So at this time, I'm going to apply downwards pressure. And just like that, the tip is going to snap off. Now at this point, there might be some chiseled ends left over on the qalam. And what we can do is just go ahead and refine those out. So I'm just going to slid that out. Now if there's any chip ends that are sticking out, then what we can do is, sliver the sides of the qalam a little bit more. In this case, that's not happening, so we're going to stop at this point in time. Now the last stage, which is really optional for pens of this width, this is something we usually do for thicker chisel tip instruments. But what we do is we would take the qalam, we would put it on the mekta or the tabletop, and using the utility knife, I'm going to put a slit down the middle of this qalam here. And there we have it. So here is a qalam that is ready to be used for Arabic calligraphy scripting. Alright, so now let's talk about how we can prepare the ink that we need in order to write Arabic calligraphy. So what I have here is the jar that I grabbed from the dollar store. This is the lika that I grabbed from Michael's. It's a small piece of it. And this is what the length looks like. Again, this could be subjective depending on how much ink it is that you are preparing, but this would be a rough idea for you. These are the two squeeze bottles that I grabbed from the dollar store. One of them has water and the other one has this new ink that I just grabbed from Curry's today. Now, the traditional ratio between water and ink is that we need 1 drop of water for every 2 drops of ink. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. Again, that is something that is subjective. Some calligraphers like it darker and some calligraphers like it lighter. So we're going to go ahead and prepare this ink according to the traditional method. So I'm going to open this squeeze bottle and I'm going to start pouring some ink in this jar here. Alright, so now I'm just going to eyeball how much ink I have here, and I know that I need to put in about half as much water as I have ink over here. So I'm going to take the water squeeze bottle here and start pouring that. And here we are. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lika and I'm going to put this inside the ink here. Now, the purpose of lika is that as it dissolves the majority of the ink that's in here, now when I take my column and I dip it in the inkwell, I'm not dipping the pen in a pool of ink. I'm actually just touching it with the fabric that is inside here, and so I am only getting a very limited amount of ink on my column. So let's go ahead and take this for a test drive. All right, so far it looks like we have done a great job at preparing everything here, from the column to the ink that we are using to write this. And that is how we prepare ink for Arabic calligraphy scripting. Alright, so that's it for today, folks. I really hope that you found this video helpful and that it provided a little bit more clarity to you on how to get ready for your ultimate journey to learn Arabic calligraphy. Take care and assalamu alaikum.